Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's Disney related video. Today we are talking all about the Disney Skyliner. So I have been waiting to make this video until I could actually ride the Skyliner for myself and talk about my personal experience with it. If you want to see like live reactions to me riding it, I'll put a link to that vlog up there, but I'm going to try and remember all the things that I said in that, and I'll have some footage of the actual like us riding it in this video, but today I'm just going to try to break down everything that you need to know about it, and then I will probably have one update to this video later this year, which I will explain what that will be later. But without further ado, let's get started. So and if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes because there's no way I'm going to remember all of this. So the Disney Skyliner is the newest method of transportation at Walt Disney World, and it opened on September 29th, 2019, which funnily enough was my wedding anniversary, so I'll remember that. There are approximately 600 cabins, and it's basically a gondola, kind of ski lift, enclosed cabin method of transportation that you're transported in the sky, and it is interesting in that way that it's a unique, kind of like the monorail, like it's only in certain areas. So there's approximately 600 cabins, and about half of those are wrapped with different Disney characters. There are like multiples of each one that kind of make it more visually interesting and like different depending on which cabin you're in or which cabins you see as you're passing them and stuff like that. So where is the Skyliner? The Skyliner goes from Pop Century and Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, the new Disney's Riviera Resort, from those resorts to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Pop Century and Art of Animation share a station, so Pop Century is here and Art of Animation is here, and then there's a bridge in between them, and that is where the station is. And then you can take that to Caribbean Beach where you transfer, and then from Caribbean Beach you either go to Epcot and the Riviera or to Hollywood Studios. So we took the Skyliner from Art of Animation to Epcot. How long does it take? It took us to do that line approximately 20 minutes. It's going to depend on the wait time, but for us loading at Art of Animation, we basically like walked on. It is continuously loading, so the wait time isn't going to be that long unless there's a ton of people. It was early afternoon on a Thursday in November, so not necessarily the busiest time. Obviously at like park closing, park opening, it's going to be a bit busier. So it was 20 minutes, which is like heck of a lot faster than a bus. You could wait that long just for a bus, never mind the time it takes for you to get to the park. So the cars can hold up to 10 people, and there's 2 benches and then some space in the middle. So the first car that we rode, it was just the 2 of us, and then the second time, once we were at the transfer point, we were with 2 other people. So they weren't like packing them full. We did wait a little bit longer at the transfer point, kind of just like one length, probably not even, that it didn't like double back or anything like that. Still, it was like less than 5 minutes. So the loading process is basically the cars are coming around, they are moving fairly slowly, and they just ask how many people are in your party and you get straight on. Similar to like Haunted Mansion, Little Mermaid, Spaceship Earth. I would say that that's probably how fast it's going, and they just say like watch your step, and then they let you know when the door is closing. There is like an audio track to it that says like you're in the sky, and like you'll see on this side this, and they were approaching the station, and all of those things. So what else? Here we go. Also, it is approximately 6 miles of cable. That's how much cable. there is a separate loading area for like scooters, ACVs, and wheelchairs. So we did see a car with a scooter in it, and it looked like the benches were down. You couldn't quite see, but it looks like there's enough room. I don't think that the cars are any larger, and I don't think that they'd squish 10 people in there, but that is the one thing that I will do an update to this video with once I have personal experience with a wheelchair going on there. So I will be able to show you what it looks like and the process and everything like that. But we did see one scooter get loaded, which is a little bit slower. The one kind of like downside of it is because it is in the sky, weather could be an issue. So from what I understand, if there is lightning detected in a certain mile radius, they will shut it down. They would stop loading people and get people off. You may, I guess depending on where you're going, have to get off at a station sooner than your final destination, and then they would have buses to get you to where you're wanting to go. I haven't experienced that, but that's from what I understand. There was it was like less than a week after they opened, there was a malfunction where two of the cars collided, that not like in the air, it was in the station. No one was hurt, but the line had to be stopped and people were stuck for a few hours. So they do have emergency kits in each of the cars, that there are instructions and everything like that. And Walt Disney World is actually so big that they have their own like kind of government, that they have their own fire department, that you could see like before it was open that they were practicing evacuations and everything like that. But they know what they're doing and they would let you know if anything were to happen. I did not have that fear when I was on it. But that is how weather would impact it. One thing to note is at Pop Century, they have announced that buses to Hollywood Studios and Epcot are now only leaving every hour. So if you are wanting to stay at that resort, you are going to have to rely on the Skyliner more. If you're afraid of heights or don't want to take the Skyliner, definitely take that into consideration, because if you're only taking a bus every hour, like that's going to make it a lot less convenient to take the bus to those parks. I would probably suggest staying somewhere else if you don't want the Skyliner. It is a new thing that makes those resorts unique. I think a lot of people have given pushback about that I could see them changing that rule back, because if people don't want to ride it, like, you shouldn't have to ride it if you don't want to, but that's just something to note. I don't think there's been any announcements for Caribbean Beach or the Riviera or anything like that. Also, just a note about where it goes to Epcot. It goes into the International Gateway, which is the back entrance that takes you in between France and the UK in Epcot. So it is the area where you could walk to the Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club, those resorts. So they have done an overhaul of that entrance of the park, but it was really smooth when we got there. I did start walking the wrong way, but found the entrance. It was quick and easy and painless. Strollers, you may be able to wheel them on, or you may be asked to fold them up. I think it just depends on who is like working to get you into the cabins. It's really efficient, I think. Like, that's pretty much all of the information on the Skyliner. So now I'll just touch on my experience. I think that being in so the first leg we were in a car that wasn't wrapped, and then the second one we were. I think it is like dizzying being in the wrapped ones because of the texture of the wrap. Like, it makes it harder to see out, so it's dizzying trying to look out, like you can't really see anything. I'll try to put some footage of what it actually looks like. I ended up editing a lot of that out because you couldn't really see anything because it was dizzying. So if that's a concern of yours, you could probably ask to be in a cabin that's not wrapped. You might just have to wait a little bit longer. But if that's something you're worried about, I would probably suggest it. It is a little bumpy and it's a little fast coming into the stations, and then when you're going over top of kind of like where the poles are, when you go over, it's like a little bum bum, and then you go back down, and you feel like you're going quite quick into the station, that you're kind of like, ugh, but it's fine. Yeah, it looks scarier than it is. I don't know, but we were fine. There is airflow. The cabins are not air conditioned, but there is airflow. We were there on a fairly windy, cloudy day in November, so it wasn't really hot, so I can't speak to how hot they would be. I could see it being quite hot, but there is airflow. Like, my hair was moving while we were going through it. The highest points, if you are scared of heights, I would say the highest part is when you're going over top of Caribbean Beach. I haven't been on the line to Hollywood Studios, so I can't speak to that, but you are actually over top of buildings at Caribbean Beach, which are 2-story buildings, and then you are kind of over top of the pavilion in France. Like, you can see when you take it into Epcot, you're seeing where the Ratatouille ride is going, so you are higher than those buildings, but my husband is not the biggest fan of heights and he was fine, but he just said to mention those, that those are the highest points, and that is about it. So I do think that it is something that you should try. Like I said, I will probably be taking it again, and I actually want to get off at the Riviera because it wasn't open when we were there, that I'd like to walk around and see it, so I probably will be taking the Skyliner again, and I'll let you know about accessibility and all about that. But if you have any questions about the Skyliner, let me know down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Of course, I've only been on it one time, so I can only speak from that one experience, but I do like it. I was interested and I really wanted to go on it just so I could tell you my experience, and it was pretty painless and it was quick, and I think it's interesting. I don't know if they'll like add it, expand it or anything, but I think that it makes resorts that were like close enough to Epcot and Hollywood Studios to like have an advantage just in terms of bus times. It makes them even more interesting, because like I loved Caribbean Beach for the longest time because of where it was, how close it was to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, but I feel like you're in that kind of prime area, but now you're that much closer to them because you can take a Skyliner, that it makes it that much more accessible. Okay, that is all for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I will be back with another video soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.